everyone. My dear friend and my batchmate, former secretary Tarun Sridhar. Today's birthday boy, the youngest among us, Dr. Mehta. Dr. Khan, a tireless organizer of several events. Dr. Ashudeep Garg and Madam Anjana Nair. All the distinguished participants, good morning to you all once again. We have heard two different views already within a short period of time. First, I would like to thank Khan Saab once again. As I said, he is indefatigable in thinking, in connecting, and not resting content with that, to operationalize that by bringing people from different backgrounds together on a single platform. Let's give him a big hand for this. We have assembled here this day to discuss about bioagriculture. And the sub-theme under that rubric of bioagriculture is towards ecological and sustainable agriculture. I will use my time to share a few basic things so that we are able to set a context, and the technical sessions that would follow will probably take some hint from this. Yes, even today, there is some kind of a debate or polemics between organic and inorganic agriculture. And organic agriculture, of course, itself is one of the several aspects of what is largely called as the ecological agriculture. We need to set this debate at rest. Both are and should be and can be science-based. When we hear the word bioagriculture, it is actually a subset of the larger umbrella terminology called bioeconomy. This terminology, bioeconomy, was first heard sometimes in 1960s, but it took a long time for it to catch attention. And around 1998, for the first time, people began to define what is bioeconomy. But even today, there is no consensus on what is the meaning and definition of bioeconomy. But so much that you can remember that over the last 2.5 decades, sometimes beginning with 1998, the number of research papers and references to the term bioeconomy are increasing. And it seems to be gaining critical moment, particularly in the last 5 to 10 years. There have been a flood of research papers on bioeconomy. When we use the word bioeconomy, it will, of course, automatically encompass all aspects of economy. And as you know, the world economy is primarily categorized as primary sector, that is agriculture, which itself is a composite of several subsectors. The secondary economy, that is the industry, primarily consisting of manufacturing sector, and the tertiary, which is supportive of both primary and secondary in terms of various services. And over the last 1 decade, of course, there have been also the fourth and the fifth sector based on ideation, concepts, knowledge, etc. We will not come to those, but let's stick to these 3 primary sectors. So when you use the word bioeconomy, what people now saying is that we need to shift from the fossil-based industrial processes, which has sustained the economy so far, to bio-based industrialization to build a new economy called as bioeconomy. The reasons are obvious. That ever since we embarked upon the industrialization in 1750, we have accelerated the pace of that. And the new findings in science and technology have actually kept it alive at a faster rate, rather accelerating rate. And over these 250 years, various fossil resources nurtured by nature over millions of years are near exhaustion. Whether it is iron ore, whether it is bauxite, whether it is coal, and even other natural resources like water in our aquifers are all near exhaustion, or at least they are now at the terminal stage. Let's say India is one of the richest sources in terms of coal. But our estimates say that not more than 450 years we shall be having the coal. What is 450 years? When you look at the time span of millions and billions and endless imaginations. Even if we have these resources interminably, the problem is that they have been releasing so much of greenhouse gas that there is, for the first time in the history of the universe, a man-made, man-induced climate change. It's not that climate change has not happened earlier. It has happened. It is thanks to climate change that there has been civilization. But what we are seeing today is a human-induced climate change, which is resulting in increases in temperature beyond tolerance, which is causing changes in the seasonality, including monsoons, and the number of weather extremes are increasing. And all of us have agreed at the Paris Treaty that we shall restrict the rise in temperature to 2 degrees Celsius by 2100. But as things have progressed by 2023, we are not anywhere near that. And now we're all talking about trying to restrict it to 4 degrees Celsius. So if that happens truly, and combined with the other cataclysmic changes in the climatic factors, not just human civilization, but life on Earth itself is at stake. So if greenhouse gas is a culprit related to the fossil resources which has sustained a new form of processes and therefore the economy and therefore the civilization, then we have to really think. All this has happened thanks to what is called the boon of science and technology. But that same boon of science and technology is what is compromising the very basics of civilization. We therefore need to now look beyond the present parameter of science and use the same science for a new framework. So the first point that I would like to communicate to you is, we are not to put one science against another science. We're only saying, can we now develop science into a new format through a new orientation? Now, when you talk about bioagriculture per se, if bioeconomy is based on utilizing the bioresources, the basic principle is what is called circular economy. A bioeconomy is based on circular economy. Bioeconomy is considered because all the resources that will be utilized, whether in industry or in service sector or in agriculture, will all be renewable in form, because the biological resources are made of the same compounds as inorganic compounds are. The only difference is, if it takes millions of years to reform the iron ore for producing steel, the same kind of composite that can be made by using the crop straw or any other animal product is renewable, because the life cycle of a crop, of a horticulture plant or an animal husbandry fisheries is 3 months, 4 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. Therefore, Bioeconomy is talking about substituting the fossil resources by bioresources and therefore bring in greater renewability into our systems. Now, whether it is whether it is a fossil resource or a bioresources, it has to be circular in nature, in the sense that so far, the entire economy, the Western economy has been led by a supply push factor. That means we keep producing and then complement that with aggressive marketing strategy, convert an unfelt need into a felt need, and make people buy more than what they require. Now we need to stop that kind of a supply push economy and say we're going to produce commodities which shall have a longer shelf life. A longer shelf life, so that we are using that same commodity that is manufactured somewhere for as long as possible. And when that commodity meets its end, we now find out ways of using that for producing something else. So that is called as reuse, recycle. So when we adopt this basic principle of extension of the life cycle and then combine it with reuse and recycle, we are actually completing the loop. And therefore, now the economy transforms itself from a linear economy to a circular economy. So what we need today is a circular economy. A circular economy, I said, can be used either in fossil-based resources as well as in bioresources. But it has got greater capability, possibility, feasibility of being integrated with bioresources, because bioresources are renewable and a quick life cycle. Therefore, we are talking about bioeconomy, where now the science which has been applied so far has to produce these kind of commodities will now start using the bioresources to produce the same material, same construction material called the composites, enzymes, not from chemicals but from biological resources, fuels, not from fossil resources but from the bioresources. So whether it is composites, whether it is fuel, whether it is enzymes, whether we require the raw material for pharmaceuticals, for our cosmetics, anything and everything that mankind requires will all be produced from bioresources. So the science that has focused so far on using the basic, fossil resources will use the same basic principles of chemistry, biology, physics, so on and so forth, to actually apply itself to the bioresources. So over the last few decades, thankfully, the world has begun to talk of bioresources. And hopefully, if we can apply our greater mind and greater commitment to utilizing the bioresources with a view to promoting bioeconomy and circular economy, we would be doing a great service to the entire civilization. Why? The reason simple. If we have been changing the climate by inducing large amounts of greenhouse gases, can bioresources actually bring about a lesser emission of greenhouse gases? It is not that bioresources will not release greenhouse gases. They too will. But then there is a feasibility of actually checking that. Let's take agriculture. When you talk of bioagriculture, we are now talking about shifting from industrial nature of agriculture based on use of agrochemicals and other kinds of industrial processes applied to agriculture to a more natural way of generating the same kind of commodities, same kind of requirements from a ecologically synchronous agriculture. So just like bioeconomy, bioagriculture will also talk about a circular nature. That means what we take out from soil, we give it back. The simplest example is that we prepare the seed bed or the land for tilling, for sowing the seeds. The seeds grow into a crop. We take the primary produce for human consumption and the biomass for to be used as fodder for the animals. Animals give us dung, and then dung goes back as a compost to the field. Of course, very simplistic way I'm saying. That means where it started, it goes back to the same place, and therefore the circular loop has been completed. However, there is a challenge. The challenge is that the agrochemical-based agriculture based on the miracle seed with high response to the intensive use of agrochemicals has actually fed the world. And that's how Norman Borlaug got the Peace Prize in 1971, the only agriculture scientist to get the award in the name of peace, because there was hunger, there were deaths, there were conflicts on this earth, and the food security that Norman Borlaug's seed brought on this earth brought peace, and therefore he was eligible to get that Nobel Peace Prize. Now, we cannot say that we will undo all that. The requirement of food is increasing. The population today is 7.6 billion. It is estimated to grow to 10 billion by 2100. When we reach that 10 to 11 billion, the quantum of food required is going to be double than what it is today, because even today there are many people who are not getting enough food to eat. So how do we ensure that food and nutrition security of the people, the fodder security of the animals, and also production of the raw materials for the agro industries is all ensured? And that is only possible if our productivity increases. But the new hypothesis has to be, I shall increase the productivity through a new science. And can our scientists now apply their mind to give us new varieties, new breeds, and new agronomic practices, which will give us a higher yield by using a non-intensive or agroecologically synchronous principles? I think that is the new challenge. And that challenge is exciting because humankind is thinking that everything has been achieved. All the work to be done has been done in 19th century, 18th century, 20th century. In 21st century, we just need to look at our digital platforms and rest. No. The nature keeps throwing up new challenges. The new challenge is climate change. And therefore, it's all negative impact on food production and industrial production, on the living conditions, anything and everything. Therefore, the new science has to actually start answering these new challenges the way our predecessors scientists have done it right from 14th century in an organized manner. 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th centuries, where organized science has found answers to most of the problems that existed then and gave us a comfortable life in 20th and beginnings of 21st century. So new decades of this century are new challenges. Therefore, bioagriculture must also rise to the occasion. Yes, there are challenges within the agriculture sector. 23% of the total greenhouse gas emission happens in our agriculture. And the maximum happens on the paddy fields. And next happens in the animals due to enteric fermentation. So we will have to find answers to all these things. Should we continue to grow paddy or substitute that paddy? If nutrition is a requirement, we need more of fruits and vegetables. We need more of pulses and not just cereals the way we are growing. They're all subcomponents of agriculture. But the larger issue is that, can we also shift agriculture in sync with the new challenges of making it biologically regenerative, agroecologically synchronous? All this is possible provided we apply new science. If we do not apply new science and try to tinker with it, then we will add to the greenhouse gases. In fact, one of the research papers from United Kingdom says that if we apply the same kind of technology and try to bring more area under organic farming to produce the same amount of food, then the quantum of greenhouse gas emitted will be more than what is being emitted today, which only means that new science, which will ensure that the greenhouse gas emission will be also reduced in the agriculture sector, just as it is supposed to do in the industrial sector, is what we really require. So friends, I think over the next technical sessions, I'm sure you'll all apply your minds to this, but try to go beyond what it is today. Understand the problems, the challenges, and the new needs that the society is actually crying for. And I firmly believe that science has no limitations. It is a frontier-less domain. It can be continuously expanded, but it has to be expanded in the right direction. So let me close by quoting Albert Einstein, which I quote many times. Many of you have already heard from me, and I'm sure read it. Albert Einstein said that is philosopher without science is lame, and a scientist without philosophy is blind. So we want science and philosophy to be combined, so that scientist is actually working on those problems which the civilization is actually meeting today, and he has to take us in the right direction. That means he needs the eyes of philosophy. And the philosopher obviously cannot keep on blindly saying, I don't want this, I don't want this. He has to also believe in science, because science is what is going to tell him or teach him how to walk. So we need both our eyes, the philosophy, we need our limbs, the science, to actually be optimally blended so that the society is moving in the right direction. So I wish the sessions all the best, and we look forward to outcomes at the end of the day that will give us deeper insights into the direction that we must all move towards through bioagriculture. Thank you.